All right, so welcome to the sprint presentation for the wireframes. As always, myself, Tom, Krupa, and Jithan, and we'll be talking to you about our PokerTracks app. So today we'll be talking about our Trello commitments, the progress on those tasks, the stand-up meetings and sprint that we had. Also what we've done on the app during this sprint, and then we're just going to do a little walkthrough video showing you how the app is looking today.
Hello, Professor. Hello, Peter. So I'm Krupa, and I'm one of the teammates. So this is the Trello board that that shows the tasks that we have been committed to do for this sprint, and there were total 13 tasks. And Tom, can you move to the next screen? So as you can see, by yesterday, we have completed all the 13 tasks that we committed to. And yep, that's it.
Hi, Professor. Hi, Peter. I'm Jithin. So this is a screenshot of our weekly stand-up we held up. So basically, every week we used to meet up in Microsoft Teams and have a little discussion about how the work is going. Are we stuck on something, and discuss about what all things to be done between the next sprint meetings. So we used to do this in every week. Over to Kripa.
So these are the stand-up meeting notes that we fill out each week during our stand-up meeting to see what we have done so far and what we are going to do for the next week, or if someone has struggled with some part of their work, so that we can help each other out. So what I've been doing, what I've done for the last meeting was that I implemented the since I implemented the graph, we were having some issues with the graph showing the games played 0, and the profit was starting at the zeroth game, which isn't right. So profit should be 0 for the 0 number of game, because that is not even a game played. So I resolved that bug. And for the next meeting, I decided to do the floating action button on the results page, which will be shown later, and implemented some text box labels to make it more user-friendly. And I didn't get into that much issues, but when I did, my teammates did help me a lot.
So what I have done since the last meeting was certain parts of our homepage was static, so we need to make it better to accommodate our dynamic data from the database. So I did the homepage, I refactored certain parts of the homepage to accommodate the data from the dynamically. So what I was planning to do by the next meeting was, currently our blog was just static data. So we planned on to create database in Cloud Firestore in Firebase. So I planned on setting up the blog database. Anything that I having challenges was like we had some conflicts in the GitHub merge, but we eventually resolved it, and I was not blocked by any means.
Yeah, and so for myself, so Krupa built out that graph page, but we decided it would look nice to have the graph also showing on the home screen. So I worked on taking that and moving it to the home screen. Also, we had update a poker session features and create a poker session features, but we didn't have delete. So off the advice of Krupa and Jithin, we decided to go with a swipe delete option. So I implemented that to delete a poker session. Also, like Jithin was saying, some of our information on our home screen was static. So once Jithin updated the UIs, I was able to put our real data in various sections, which I will go over. As for challenges, a little bit with the swipe delete. I was able to get the data to delete on Firebase, but it wasn't updating the UI properly unless you left the screen and went back in. So I had to take some time and figure that one out. But after looking around online and seeing some tutorials, I was able to get it up and running. And right now I'm not blocked, which is great to say. And as always, we like our motivational line here. The best way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. So without any further ado, we'll actually show you what we got up to over the past couple weeks. For starters, just about the graph. So as you can see on the left-hand side, it was just a placeholder image of a graph. So no actual data, couldn't do anything. It was just kind of sitting there. So what we did was we took Krupa's graph information and we added it in as a little bit of the screen on the home page. As you can see on the right, we have the user's actual data showing some recent sessions and an animated graph. So we really felt like it added to the UI and, you know, a little bit of a wow factor. So we're very happy with how that one turned out. Next, I had to deal with I think I touched on this a little bit last week, but I was having some warnings from Firebase about the rules. And actually, Professor, your utilization of using the username was correct. I just wasn't implementing it right. So I was getting some security risks, but it's just because I didn't set things up properly on my end. So I kind of structured things a bit better in Firebase. I created a users folder. From there, it goes to their Google ID. And then I broke it down into sessions from there, individual poker sessions. Also, we decided to keep track of the user's email and name information that we get from them logging in, just in case they ever contact us with a complaint about the account or they need to change something. That way we can reference who they are quite quickly. Another thing that I worked on was, as you can see on the right, so that used to be just placeholder images of recent results. Now it's actually their most recent results. So we're taking their 3 most recent results and showing it on the home screen. And if they click on that session, it actually brings up the update section for the poker session, so they can change it right from there. So it's all dynamic information now. So again, switching placeholders to real data, getting ready to deploy the app. Last thing is the swipe to delete over there on the left. So now when you're in a session, you're looking at the list, you can just swipe to the left or the right. You'll get an alert if you want to actually delete that session. And if you say yes, as you can see, it kind of just collapses in, and that's deleted not only in the UI, but also in the database on Firebase. And on the right-hand side, I also implemented a function to delete all records. So maybe they want to just get rid of their account and delete all their data. So that's in the profile page. And because it is such a serious event, you have to actually go through 2 alerts to make sure there's no like user mistake hitting the wrong button. So that function is there, but we made sure to make it as safe as we possibly could. And now over to Jithan.
So this is the poker blogs scheme I did in Firestore. So I just created a Firestore database for this to hold our blog data, such as the blog image, date, title, or the description. These are the blog data we are going to display in our app. So I just made a schema for this in the Firebase. Next slide. And I did some refactoring in the home page, like the result page was a static one. So what I did was make a better looking XML for the recycler view to accommodate our dynamic data, and also just added a view all button near the block so it looks symmetric all over, and that's all.
So as you can see in the results page, I added a floating action button so that you can directly go to the add session section of the app, and you can add the session from there. Next slide, Tom. So in the add session screen, as you can see that there are all these fields that before entering the data in the fields, you can see what are the fields representing. But when you are trying to edit a session, there was no specification as to which field represents what data. So I added the text label on the top of each field, so that while editing a session, user can see that what they are actually representing, and they can know what they are supposed to enter. Lastly, as I mentioned, there was a bug on the graph that it was starting at 0 but it was showing the first data on the 0 game played, which was a bug apparently. So I fixed it to start the profit and game number at 0, so that the real data will be showed at for the first game, and it will be simultaneously go through all the results and show the appropriate data. And on the date picker, I updated the color theme to match that as of our app, so that it is more readable and looks nice apparently. So this is our app. So here I'm going to show you the app demo. So how apparently our app looks by so yeah, Tom, start. So when you sign in, this will be the home page. So as you can see, the graph features and the results and the glossary right now. So first is add session, where you can add the session as you are playing game. Then there are results. So when you add a session, it will be shown in the results page. From where the floating button, you can add the another sessions as well. And for the current session that are showing, you can edit it as well. Then there is glossary part, that is apparently the normal poker terms that you can familiarize yourself with. Then there are blocks that are basically just some information or maybe video links to learn more about poker. And yeah, that's all.
Yep, and as always, we've updated our code in GitHub, and I was just actually looking at it today, and I noticed we're now up to 85 commits and 43 merges into the master branch. So it's pretty incredible to see how much work we put in and how far we've gone throughout this this course. So that's about it for this sprint. Thank you very much, as always, for taking a look at our app, and I hope you enjoyed it.